Hello viewers, welcome to the Editorial Analysis by Drishti IAS. In this section, we regularly take editorials from various newspapers and news portals for a better understanding of various issues happening in India and around the globe. Dear viewers, in this section, we first try to link the editorial with our UPSC syllabus. Then, we go analytical in order to understand some key points and at last some important concepts. Dear viewers, we truly hope that you like this initiative taken by Drishti IAS and your feedbacks are important for us. So kindly feel free to give your important feedbacks in the comment section. So without any further delay, let's commence our session.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Today's editorial is taken from The Hindu, published on 1st of February 2021. The title of today's editorial is Growth with Inequality. If we try to summarize today's editorial, we can say that the economic survey seems to privilege wealth creation over reduction of income disparity. If we try to link today's editorial with our UPSC syllabus, we can link it with GS Paper 3, which has sections that include Indian economy and issues related to planning and development. Some key points from today's editorial. The economic survey for 2021 is an expansive attempt at reviewing the development in the Indian economy during the current financial year and providing an outlook for its near-term prospects. Now, in these statements, we can say what exactly is the definition of an economic survey, what exactly is the work, what exactly is the job of an economic survey. The economic survey, it attempts at reviewing the various developments in the Indian economy in the current financial year, and also it provides an outlook for what are going to be the future prospects. Spread over 700 pages, the survey opts for a self-congratulatory tone while highlighting the policy achievements of the government in steering the economy through the treacherous shoals of the most unfathomable global health emergency experienced in modern history. Now, if we speak about the economic survey 2021, it is spreading over at least 700 pages, and a gist of the economic survey can be said that the economic survey presents a congratulatory tone with respect to the government, where all the initiatives, all the ideas, all the various things, various jobs that were done by the government during one of the most toughest times that we have seen in our lives, one of the most biggest issues that we have seen of corona pandemic, how government has actually taken various initiatives and how the government has steered the economy through such tough times. So this economic survey actually is more or less, you can say, a congratulatory note to the government and speaks about what all various initiatives were taken by the government of India. Citing an approach that uses graded public health measures to transform the short-term trade off between lives and livelihoods into a win-win that would save both lives and livelihood over the longer term. The survey asserts that India established a global unique model of strategy policy making in containing the COVID-19 pandemic while helping the economy recover quickly from its deleterious impact. Now, if we speak about the economic survey, it actually presents that how India has actually established a very unique model of strategic policy making, how to actually handle the economy during such tough times. Also, the survey speaks of how the economy has started to recover, though it hasn't recovered completely. But yes, looking at the present figures, we can definitely say that economy once again is going back on track. Now viewers, here we are talking about the economic survey. Now, it is quite important for us before we move ahead to see what exactly the economic survey has come up with. So there are various aspects. I'll be discussing some of the most important aspects that are discussed and are also important with reference to our UPSC examination. So the economic survey of 2021 was tabled in the Parliament on Friday. Now, if I speak about one of the most important key points here, the survey expects the Indian economy to grow by 11% in real terms after adjusting for inflation, okay, during 21-22. This is close to the growth of 11.5% forecast by the IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund. Now, if you remember, in one of my last week's editorials, we have discussed how IMF has also come up with their data, and it is suggesting that India is going to be the only country all across the globe who will observe a double-digit growth in their economy in the financial year of 2021-2022. So, various points. Number one that are important to be seen from the survey is, number one, it says the survey expects, like I said, that the Indian economy will grow by almost 11% in real terms. In real terms, it has to be understood. If we have taken out this real term figure out of proportion, out of picture, so what we can say is that the actual growth is going to be around 15.4%, but after adjusting with inflation, it is expected that the growth is going to be around 11%. This is close to the growth of 11.5% that was forecasted by IMF. Nevertheless, one factor that needs to be kept in mind is the size of the Indian economy as measured by the GDP. It is said that the GDP is expected to contract by 7.7%. Again, a very important figure here. The GDP will contract by almost 7.7% during 2021-20. So, what exactly will be the amount? What exactly will be the final value that is being expected? So, it has been said that the final value is going to be around 134.4 lakh crores. Hence, the 11% growth that is expected for 2021-22 seems quite low. Okay, a 11% growth from this means that the Indian GDP in 2021-22 is expected to be at 149.2 lakh crores. So, this is going to be the value if the growth achieved in the economy is somewhere around 11%, and that value is just 2.4% more than the GDP of 145.7 lakhs in 2019-2020. Again, we have to see that the GDP value in 2019-2020 financial year, it was around 145.7 lakh crores, and the expected GDP for 2021-22 is to be 149.2 lakh crores. So yes, definitely, because of one complete year where we have not seen lot many initiatives being taken place, the businesses were absolutely closed, the economy remained shut down for almost, you can say, for 6 months. So yes, this is quite concerning, but if we are looking at a bit brighter picture, then we can say that from 134 lakh crores to 149 lakh crores, this seems to be quite a big achievement. However, there is something which is to be remembered, that is, while celebrating the 11% growth forecast by survey for 2021-22, also in nominal terms, the economy is expected to grow by 15.4% during 2021-2022. So like I said, when not adjusted for inflation, the economy will be growing by almost 15.4%, but after adjusting for inflation, and inflation is projected to be at around 4.4%. So, the real growth that will be achieved is somewhere around 11%. Number two, most important thing, the gross tax revenue earned by the government during the period April to November 2020, it fell by almost 12.6%. And it amounted to around 10.26 lakh crores. This isn't surprising, given that other than excise duty, the taxes earned by the government have taken a severe beating due to the economy contracting. The excise duty collections have gone up because the government has increased the excise duty collected per litre of petrol and diesel during the course of the year. The gross tax revenue earned during the year is expected to fall well short of the budgeted 24.2 lakh crores. This was the amount that was actually expected, that was actually budgeted. So yes, we can definitely say that there will be a shortage. A portion of the gross tax revenue earned by the union government is shared with the state governments. This devolution has also fallen by 20.7% to 3.34 lakh crore between April and November 2020. Clearly, the state governments have been hit harder by the economic contraction. See, it is quite obvious. When the central government is not getting the revenue, they are not able to give the desired amount of revenue to the various states. As a result, we can see that the states definitely have suffered a lot due to the economic contraction. Other than the gross tax revenue, now this is the third point, the amount of money the government expected to earn through the disinvestment route by selling its stake in public sector enterprises has taken major beating this year. Of the targeted 2.1 lakh crore by 20 January 2021, the government was able to earn only 15,220 crores. See, the government targeted that due to disinvestments, the government will be earning somewhere around 2.1 lakh crore. However, this figure has also taken a severe beating, and now the data which we have as of now says that the government has earned only 15,220 crores through the route of disinvestment. Or you can say that the government has only achieved 7.2% of the entire targeted amount. So out of 2.1 lakh crore, the government has earned only 15,220 crores, and that's just 7.2% of the targeted amount. More than half of this money came by selling shares in HAL, that is the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation Limited, that is your IRCTC. Now, the fourth point. Given that the government has expected unable to earn as much money as is expected to when it presented the budget for this financial year in February 2020, it is but natural that the fiscal deficit of the government will go up this year. Now, if we speak about fiscal deficit, what exactly do you mean by it? So, fiscal deficit, that is, we will write here as FD. So, fiscal deficit is the difference between what a government earns and what it spends during the course of the year. The difference is funded through the government borrowing by issuing bonds. Now, as of January 8, the union government has borrowed. The total borrowing that the union government has got is around 10.72 lakh crores, which is 65% more than what it had borrowed in the corresponding period in the previous year. The state government has borrowed a total of 5.71 lakh crore during the period, which is again 41% more than the previous financial year. So this tells us that the fiscal deficit of the union government for 2021 will be much more than the deficit of 3.5% of GDP, which was projected at the time of the presentation of the budget in February 2020. So, in very simple terms, you can understand that the fiscal deficit for the government will be quite high. The government projected during their budget in February 2020 that the fiscal deficit for the financial year 2020-2021 will be around 3.5% of the GDP. However, it is expected, till the final reports come, it is expected that this fiscal deficit is going to be quite higher. Now, an important point that the survey makes is that of the Indian economy recovering during the second half of the year. Now, we all know that after August, or you can say primarily from September, the Indian economy started showing signs of relief. Now, there were various aspects, there were various avenues where we actually saw that the growth was coming. We also know that the GST revenue that was earned by the government also was quite positive for the month of October, November, December. So, this is primarily happening because in an environment where both corporate and individual spending has taken a backseat, the government has come in as the spender of the last resort. The government consumption in the second half is expected to grow by 17% after contracting by 3.9% during the first half. On the other hand, private consumption, which forms more than half of the Indian economy, is expected to contract by 0.6% in the second half after having contracted by 18.9% during the first half. Now, one more very important thing that this year's economic survey came up with was Economic Survey 2020-21. It constructed a BNI. Now, what exactly BNI is? Now, BNI is a Bare Necessity Index at the rural, urban and all of India level. Now, what are the key takeaways from the BNI? Number one, the BNI, that is the Bare Necessities Index, summarizes 26 indicators, very important from prelims perspective, 26 indicators on 5 dimensions that are water, sanitization, housing, microenvironment and other facilities. The BNI has been created for all states for 2012 and 2018 using data from 2 NSO rounds through 69th and 76th on drinking water, sanitation, hygiene and housing condition in India. In most of the states, the access to bare necessity for the household in 2018 is significantly better as compared to that of 2012. Access to drinking water to household in most of the states has improved in 2018 as compared to 2012 in rural as well as the urban area. The economic survey also notes improvement in microenvironment for all states in 2018 except for Assam in rural and Odisha and Assam in urban areas as compared to 2012. Survey also points to a positive correlation between access to bare necessities and better health and education outcome. It observes improvement in child survival, decline in stillbirths, malnutrition and infant mortality with improved access to sanitation and clean drinking water. So viewers, this was with some of the important aspects of the economic survey that was tabled on last Friday. Now, let's move ahead. There is no denying that the country appears to have not only flattened the curve but also crucially so far avoided a bruising second wave of infections seen in much of the Europe and the United States. See, one of the most important things that is to be noticed here is that now we can see that the corona curve is actually flattening in our country. And also with all the precautions, with all the measures that we have taken, we have also avoided the second wave of infections that we are actually seeing in many countries of Europe as well as in the United States of America. While it may be debatable as to how much of the turn in the pandemic's progress could be attributed wholly to the proactive policy measures, the survey's contention that India has turned the crisis into an opportunity to strengthen its long-term growth potential through seminal reforms. See, now we cannot actually say that how much percentage contribution can be given to the policy measures that were taken by the government, how much can be attributed. Yes, definitely government has done a tremendous job, though there were several avenues where the government could have worked even better. But yes, there is some amount of recognition that is required to be given to the government. However, we have also taken many reforms. Now, when we speak about seminal reforms, so seminal reforms, that means when the Prime Minister came up with the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we have definitely created that situation, like the Prime Minister said, Aapada ko avsar banaye. That Aapada ko avsar banaye, that thing actually came up. Many people use the advantage of this thing. And we can see that yes, the economy is definitely going towards a positive phase now, especially given the ongoing farmers' agitation against the new farm laws as well as the plight of the struggling small and medium scale industries and informal sectors. Like I said, that there were various avenues where government has done a tremendous job, but yet there are several aspects which are to be taken into consideration. One of the most important things that we can see right now is the farmers' agitation that is taking place over the controversial farm bills. Also, we can say that the situation of the small and the medium scale industries and the laborers who are associated there, they are still in a tremendous plight. So we definitely have to see and we have to actually do whatever is possible from government's end. The present scenario, the survey goes on to forecast that the economy is currently experiencing a V-shaped recovery that would enable GDP to expand even by a conservative estimate by 11% in real terms in 21-22, still To achieve that level of real growth, retail inflation must moderate substantially to average 4.4% or less over the 12-month period through March 2022, given that the survey has projected nominal growth at around 15.4%. Now, the survey, like I have already told you, the survey has actually presented, it has forecasted that the economic growth will be a V-shaped growth. Now, if we speak about a V-shaped economy, the economy suffers a sharp but brief period of economic decline with a clearly defined trough, followed by a strong recovery. That means one side, when the economy comes down, it comes down for a very brief period, but again, economy takes a turn and starts moving upward. V-shapes are the normal shapes for a recession, as the strength of the economic recovery is typically closely related to the severity of the preceding recession. Also, while battling for a fiscal push to support the reviving economy, it posits an upside to the growth prognosis predicted on, among other factors, a rapid rollout of the COVID-19 vaccines and a recovery in demand in the battered services sector. See, now it is high time that the government has to provide fiscal push to various sectors, because there are many concerns. Number one of the most important concerns that lies ahead is that how exactly the distribution of vaccines, corona vaccines, will take place in India. What will be its cost, whether they will be for free or not. This is something which is of primary concern. Also, government has to do and has to take care of the services sector. It was services sector which actually has taken a major hit because of the corona pandemic, especially if we speak about industries such as tourism, hospitality, restaurant, etc., etc. So these are the sectors where government has to come forward and do whatever is possible. The way ahead, however, the documents fail in providing an honest assessment of the on-ground economic situation by overlooking key aspects, including the extent of unemployment, even as it hints at the level of rural joblessness, which followed the return of millions of urban casual workers in the wake of last year's hastily implemented lockdown. One of the aspects where the economic survey doesn't provide us much information is that the issue of unemployment. See, unemployment was already at a very high pace. If we speak for last year when the budget was presented, there was a very big concern on unemployment. Now, this concern actually got doubled because during the corona pandemic, many workers who used to work in the urban areas, they actually came back to the rural areas. So the rural joblessness has increased big time. The economic survey doesn't provide us anything concrete on this particular issue. Thus, it does by taking credit for a record 311.92 crore person days of work generated over the last 10 months under Manrega. However, one aspect where the economic survey says that the government has actually provided 311.92 person days of work. Now, person days of work, it's basically the amount of work done by a person in one particular given time. It actually represents this. You can say that it is a kind of unit. So the economic survey says that the government have provided this much 311.92 crore person days of work under the Manrega scheme. And in contending that growth should be prioritized over inequality in tackling poverty, when the pandemic has exacerbated the gap between the rich and the poor, and the finance minister is set to present her budget, the survey seems to privilege wealth creation over all else. Now, we know that the gap between the rich and the poor is constantly increasing. And during this pandemic time, during the lockdown time, this gap has widened a lot. Now, we are expecting from our finance minister, who is about to present the budget today, that something is done in this direction as well. And also, if we speak about the economic survey, primarily the focus that the survey has given upon is on wealth creation. Now, wealth creation is definitely an important aspect, but yes, we do not have to forget that in the wake of wealth creation, we are just forgetting some real issues, some real agenda. So government has to be quantitative here. Government has to come up with such ideas, such approach where all the issues which are persisting in the economies are taken care of. So viewers, this was with today's editorial analysis. Now, the questions that can be framed with reference to today's editorial are primarily upon the data, the numbers that have been projected. I have discussed those numbers with you. I would suggest each and every one of you to have quite information on the economic survey from whatever sources you refer to. The best source would be refer directly to the PIB. You will get a very fair idea about the economic survey. Okay, so viewers, I hope you liked today's editorial analysis. Thank you very much.